Hello viewers, welcome to bharatshakti.in. I am Brigadier Chatterjee. I am in the premises of the Armoured Corps Centre School. Before we go any further, let me just dwell for a minute about what we intend doing at Bharat Shakti for you this year. Incidentally, this is our 10th year of being in operations, and we will have certain programs which are very special, which you'll enjoy one hell of a lot, and so I'd like you to kindly tune into Bharat Shakti whenever possible. Today at the Armoured Corps Centre School, this is one of those premier institutions. It trains our tank men. They say in the battlefield, tanks are the kings. They also say infantry is the queen. And if I may say, as a gunner myself, Joseph Stalin called artillery the god of war. But our focus will remain today on the king of the battlefield, and he'll be represented by none other than the commandant of the Armoured Corps Centre School, General Vikram Verma. Welcome, General. Welcome to
Thank you very much.
Bharat Shakti's show.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure we'll have a nice story to tell our audience.
Definitely.
Right, General. If the first question that I have really for you is, how is this school of yours come up over a period of time? Historically, when did it really start? And basically, how do you see it going? Okay, let's talk about only the part of it so far.
So you're aware the Armoured Corps has a very rich history which is over 200 years old. So training during the British period was carried out at various places. We had 3 training regiments. But it was only in 1948 that we raised the Armoured Corps Centre School under a British brigadier, Brigadier Asfal, and then an Indian brigadier, Brigadier Chaudhary, took over as the first Indian commandant of ACC&S. So we've been here, this has been our home since 1948, post-independence, and this is where we train from our recruits, that is the Agniveers, to our YOs, and from womb to tomb, the Armoured Corps Centre School is the home for all Armoured Corps personnel, sir.
So you must also have been trained over here, I'm sure.
Yes, sir, I was commissioned in 1989, and I have done all my mandatory courses over here, my YOs, my instructor course, though this is my first tenure as a commissioned officer at Armoured Corps Centre School.
Okay, I think with that as an introduction, let's go forward a little more, and I have some questions to you about how you organize your training, etc. More so as we go along. Right, General, there's a very imposing statue, obviously, of some Sawar, and obviously a very brave man. You placed it right in the center of the road. Who's this gentleman and what's his heroism like? Why did he do it?
Sir, this is Rissadar Badlu Singh. He was a Jat from Jhajjar, and in the First World War in 1918, 23rd September to be exact, on the western banks of River Jordan, there was a cavalry charge to recapture a position. At that time, there was a heavy machine gun detachment which had mowed down a large number of cavalry soldiers. Rissadar Badru, with total disregard to his life, undertook the charge and captured that position. So for capturing that position and the bravery that he showed with total disregard to his life, he was awarded a Victoria Cross. He is the Armoured Corps' first Victoria Cross, and the unit then he was with the Murray Jats is now come on to become the 9 Horse or the Deccan Horse as we refer to it.
Well, I can think of no man who deserves this place more than Badlu Singh really
Absolutely, sir. Rissadar Badlu typifies the cavalry spirit, and hence the pride of place he has in the Armoured Corps Centre School is our memento, is a replica of what you see over here, and we present it to all visiting dignitaries to honor the bravery of Rissadar Badlu Singh.
Well, thank you. I think that's a great man to be really having the privilege of me having to see his, getting to see his statue over there.
Definitely, we are very, very proud of our history.
Right, Jill, getting back to the basics of this interview. You have a lot of courses, I'm sure. Now, there's a lot of population to be trained in different segments in a different way, perhaps. You have the recruits coming to you, Agniveers coming to you. You have young officers courses. You have courses for middle level, senior level. Do you also have courses for other arms and officers and foreign officers? Give us the whole spectrum of how your courses are organized.
Broadly, let me describe how Armoured Corps Centre School is structured. Armoured Corps School, Centre School is basically structured into 5 verticals. The first vertical being the recruit training group, where we train our recruits. Then we have the Armoured Corps records. I am also the OIC records for all the ORs and JCOs of the Armoured Corps. Then I have the AC depot, where all my retiring soldiers come before they retire. And finally, of course, is the school, which is we have two brigadiers who head the School of Technical Training and the School of Armoured Warfare. So broadly, it's a womb to tomb concept, wherein from the day you join as a recruit till the day you retire, your entire documentation during your service, and post-retirement, your entire documentation. So the alma mater for all Armoured Corps personnel is over here. As far as courses go, we are training NCOs, JCOs and officers, both Indian and from friendly foreign countries. As far as the officers are concerned, the first basic course that they do is the VIOS course. Thereafter, they come back to us on a specialization called as the instructor course, which is primarily we are into three wings: automotive, gunnery and electronics. So whichever one he chooses, he comes back to us for an instructor course. Thereafter, that instructor course is considered as the culmination of his technical training as far as the basic level is concerned. Those who excel in the VIOS course and the technical course then come back to us for our flagship course, which is the tank technology course. That is our longest course for 10 months. And we have instructors from the IITs and various other institutes. So these are people who are taken to the next threshold level, who drive the growth of the Armoured Corps technologically over the next 2 to 3 decades. On the tactical side, we've got two premier courses that we run. We've got the Combat Team Commanders course and the Combat Group Commanders course. So these are courses which are all arms courses. And in addition to instructions in classrooms, these are one of the rare courses where they are tested on the equipment, because I'm privileged to have a complete range for the Armoured Corps Centre School, 36,000 acres. So the complete gamut of training tactically is carried out on the range. So the CT and the CG courses are the ones which carry out the tactical training as far as the range is concerned. As far as the men are concerned, the men come to us for their basic recruit training. After that, he goes back to his unit, then comes back to us time after time. The first being the technical course, where he's taught his basics on his first leg training. Then he comes back to us for his instructor course. Those who do well, we retain here as instructors, or they are posted as instructors. Thereafter, once he becomes a senior NCO or a JCO, he comes back to us what we call as the Tank Commander's Composite course. So this is the basic lineup as far as the GSU-NCs are concerned. Today you are aware of the importance of the INT surveillance and reconnaissance. So we run a Recce Warrior course. We have the reconnaissance troops in the armoured regiments. So they come back to us for the Recce Warrior course. And from this year onwards, the Armoured Corps Centre School is proud to say that we are the premier organization that has been selected to be the forebearers of the Swarm Drone course. So we ran the first Swarm Drone course. So there is another course that has been added onto our inventory. So it's a wide canvas consisting both of Indian and foreign officers. Over the last 5 years, we have trained about 500 foreign officers. At an average, we get about 100 foreigners who come to us. So we have a large gamut that we cover as far as training is concerned.
Your instructor courses, when do you qualify for an instructor course? Only after doing the tank technology or something like that? Or you could possibly be sending a chap who's done well in a particular course as an instructor course candidate also?
For the Armoured Corps, the instructor course is mandatory for all officers. So after he finishes VIOS and about 2 to 3 years service, he comes back to us for the instructor course. Those who do well on this course and have had a good career profile, they finally at about 5 to 6 years of service come back to us for the tank technology course, which is the culmination of his technical training in the Armoured Corps.
Right. I think that's very elaborately given to us, and let's now progress a little further, and we'll get on to seeing all this training that you're talking about little on the ground, so that our viewers get a feel of what's really happening in your institution.
Definitely. We look forward to showing everything to you on ground.
Before we went to watch the training in the classroom, we took a detour to see how a tank runs through a water obstacle in the battlefield. Even a tank, when it comes in across a water obstacle in enemy terrain or whatever be the type of terrain, it can ford across. By ford across, what I mean is that it has its surface, it has a contact with the surface, and it can go up to a certain depth of water. There are three kinds of fording: shallow fording, medium fording, deep fording. Shallow fording works out to about 1.2 meters, medium fording about 1.8 meters, and deep fording, the entire tank goes down, it's about 5 meters. This statistics are of the T-72 and T-90 tanks, and they can ford in a water obstacle as long as the speed of the water is less than about a meter and a half per second. Having witnessed the tanks going across a water obstacle, let us get to the indoor training area and watch how training is being imparted through cut models, simulators and a lot of other training aids. General, I suppose this is your armament and electronics regiment. This is a training facility. What are the subparts of that?
Broadly, once the basic training of an Agniveer is finished, he goes into advanced training.
Okay.
In the Armoured,
come over here.
So we have 3 trades in the Armoured Corps. We've got drivers, we've got gunners, and we've got the operators. So this particular regiment, the Armament and Electronics Wing, they train the gunners and the operators. So where we are today is where the gunners get trained. So the block over here is where their classrooms are. The garage in front of you is where the simulators have been placed. And this particular block to your left is where we have cut models of all parts of a tank, so that's easy for an Agniveer to understand.
So an Agniveer is given a trade at what stage really?
So,
at the entry point?
No, he comes into us. Thereafter there is we carry out an assessment of his. We have a very structured methodology of assessing him for what his skills are. And somewhere about the 8th week, we finally allocate his trade to him. And once he finishes his basic military training of 15 weeks, then he shifts from the basic training regiments to the advanced training regiments.
Okay.
And this is one of the advanced training regiments where he's trained, where the gunners are trained.
Okay. Let's have a look at whatever they do over here. If you can just tell us.
Broadly, what you see here are the components that compose tanks.
Okay.
And for example, this is the coaxial machine gun 7.62 mm PKT. This is the coax gun which fires in both the tank T90 and the tank T72. The gun over there is the anti-aircraft gun 12.7 mm NH2T. That is also there both in the T72 and the T90 tank.
These are your instructional staff.
So these are the instructors who train the Agniveers. So they have a difficult task. In 16 weeks, from a basic man, they've got to make him into a full-fledged gunner, capable of firing missiles on an open range.
No, I find that quite commendable. In my time, the training was much more extended, but I guess you must have really focused on to only training and no other stuff.
So it used to be 62 weeks. It has now been brought down to 31 weeks. It's a challenge as far as the instructors are concerned, but the process has been well streamlined. And today the Agniveer, like we were at the NDA as cadets, is only undertaking training, and hence in the 31 weeks, we are very sure that we are taking out soldiers which are the best as far as the world is concerned.
Can you have a look at these things?
These are the sights which are there on a tank T72 to your left and the T90. So you have the TKN-4S, which is the main sight as far as the tank T90 is concerned.
Okay.
And you've got the TPD K1, which is the main sight as far as the T72 is concerned. So these sights have been taken out of tanks, and these are models which are available so that each part can be explained to the Agniveer, because you are aware that inside a tank it is very, very tight. So to get to understand which parts are where, it is extremely difficult.
Anything else that you would like to show us over here?
So broadly what I am saying is that every part as which is involved in gunnery in a tank, every motor, every sight, everything that is there, all types of ammunition you can see over there. If you go right ahead, you will see all types of ammunition. Come, I'll take you there. So all the propellants that are used in the tank ammunition, all the projectiles that are there, all that are available to him so that he can touch, feel, have a first-hand look at it. So to the right,
it's been quite compact. It saves time perhaps in terms
yes,
of
so
training.
the classes, they are in small batches of 8 and 10 to one instructor, and they move around from stand to stand to stand where the instructor explains in great detail what is where. So you find the propellants that are used in all our ammunition, which is to the right. You have the penetrators for the AP ammunition at the bottom, and similarly all the components which compose our projectiles are all being shown here, which are easy for him to understand.
Can I see one of the AP ammunition a little more closely?
So this is the AMK 340. This is the long rod penetrator, which the Armoured Corps takes great pride in penetrating an enemy tank. So
that's your basic business.
This is our basic business, and this is what we aim to put through the enemy's heart or the enemy's tank.
Right. I think we will get on to your next.
So like I said, this is the old school of training where it's hands and touch. However, we have now moved on to simulators, and I'll just show you the simulators that we have, so that we've incorporated a lot of technology in our training to make sure that in the 31 weeks that he's here with us, we are able to take him to the next level. So as you can see, our instructors are the best we have in the Armoured Corps. He's capable of opening and closing a weapon blindfolded.
Oh, that's
and you
very
can have a
interesting.
demonstration over there.
माउंट सीखे हुए तरीके से हथियार खोलना शुरू कर।
Guide block directing rod with mainspring. Bridge block extension with bridge block. Barrel assembly. Gas cylinder.
So even our Agniveers, when they go, we make sure that they do a blind test for our Agniveers so that he is capable of opening and closing a weapon even if it's totally dark.
Driving for, firing for, what kind of tasks do we have simulation?
So like I said, we have 3 trades: drivers, gunners and operators.
Okay.
For both the drivers and the gunners, we have very advanced simulators, and I'll show you the simulators which are there presently as far as the gunners are concerned.
Okay.
So, and we got them for all 3 types of equipment that we hold, the T-72, the T-90 as well as the Arjun. So these are the simulators that have been there with us for some time. And whatever feed is coming in the simulator is also fed outside so that the instructors get a first-hand view of what the student is doing.
Right.
It's a gunnery simulator, and as you can see, it is stabilized and gives motion in all 3 planes. So the gunner who is inside, along with his commander, gets an absolute first-hand feel of what he is doing. The instructor is sitting outside. He sets the exercise for the student, and once the student carries out his shoot, thereafter the instructor carries out a debrief. This is all recorded so that the student can be put through the paces and told exactly where he made a mistake. So well before he goes to the ranges and fires the first round, we put all our Agniveers through the simulator, and a minimum of about 100 rounds each Agniveer fires on the simulator before he fires the first round on the open range.
I would say that's a lot of cost saving.
That's a lot of cost saving as far as we are concerned, and these are constantly upgraded as far as software is concerned, and they are able to tackle every type of terrain. You are aware now that the mechanized forces have gone to the northern borders in large numbers, so even the mountain terrain can be incorporated in this. So a good feel is given to every Agniveer as to the kind of terrain that he will fire in. So as we move around, so these are the basic gunnery simulators that we have. And I showed you the various components of a tank at the previous tour. Now all those components, how they are exactly positioned in a tank, those are there in the form of cut models over here.
Okay.
So that those have all been put inside. These are working models. So he can now go inside and see exactly what is there inside a tank.
Again, a lot of wear and tear on the equipment will be avoided in case you can show.
Yes, so if you put on a main tank, just to put on the stabilizer of a tank, you need to put on the engine. So there's wear and tear. All that can be avoided, and these are all connected on the mains. Hence, there is no wear and tear as far as the tanks are concerned. And because they are cut models, a part like the conveyor belt is very difficult to explain in an actual tank because you don't see this component. Whereas here you can exactly see this rotates and he gets a first-hand view of exactly how a tank really functions.
What are these supposed to be?
These are the smoke grenade dischargers. There are 12 of them on a tank. There are 6 this side and 6 the other side. They're 81 millimeters in caliber. So when a tank goes into a tactical position and wants to leave the tactical position, or if there is infantry which is going along with the tank to attack, to create a smoke screen, we have the smoke grenade dischargers.
Okay. Shall we go ahead?
This is the autoloader cut model
Okay.
for the T-72. So this is where he practices his autoloading, gets his hand-eye coordination inside a fighting compartment right. And a tank at the end is a team. So in the fighting compartment, the gunner and the commander, they have to be well coordinated and well oiled for the tank to be delivering the payload at the target. So the tank commanders and gunners are put through the paces together in all these cut models.
Will the tank have to come to a halt before it is fired?
No, a tank does not have to come to a halt. A tank at 40 kilometers an hour can fire.
It's
Today's
all
fire
stabilized.
control systems are very well stabilized in all three planes, and tanks today at 14 to 1600 meters at 30 to 40 kilometers an hour can engage enemy tanks very comfortably, both by day and night. This is where, so like I was telling you, it's the Armament Electronics Regiment. So this is where we finish as far as the gunners are concerned. And now I'd like to show you the training as far as the operators are concerned. So what you see in front of you is the battlefield surveillance radar. These are authorized to the armored regiments.
Is this the ELM?
This is the ELM. So you can see the operators in ghillie suits. So the operators are trained to 1, operate radio sets, 2, to operate exchanges, 3, to make sure that they can lay lines including optical fiber cable, 4, they are made specialists as far as radars are concerned, and 5th, I'm happy to tell you that any operator who leaves Armoured Corps Centre School is a drone pilot.
Okay.
So that's
the kind of importance.
So 30% of the Armoured Corps recruits, that is the Agniveers, are drone pilots. And as far as the school is concerned, 100% of the student officers and JCO NCOs who come to us are all put through 2 weeks of drone training. They all go back from here as drone pilots.
That's good.
So while we have no cut model for operators, but we fabricated one of our own. So you can see a tank crew sitting.
Okay. And this is
And
your
so
drone.
broadly, what they are doing is, the tank has 2 forms of communication. One is an internal communication between the driver, gunner and operator. The second is when the tank communicates with another tank or a number of tanks outside.
So internal communication is on wire or it's also again on wire?
No, it's all on wire so that it is secure and there is no electronic signature that is there that the tank is emitting. So here you can see the driver is in front and the gunner and the commander are sitting. They have the headgears on. So they carry out the internal communications as well as the communications with the outside world. Now all the cut models that I've shown you, this is to assist an Agniveer as far as training is concerned. But at the end of the day, an Agniveer needs to be comfortable inside a tank. So you'll find wherever we have got these cut models, we also have live tanks. So having shown him the cut model, we make sure he goes inside the tank and he's very, very comfortable inside the tank.
Right. Which are these tanks?
So we have the 2 main battle tanks that are there presently on our inventory. On the right, you have the T-72 and on the left, you have the T-90.
There are a lot of upgrade also gone as far as the...
Like every other technology, tanks are constantly being upgraded. It's a constant process. From every new war that we have globally, there are lessons to be learned, both as far as our tactics and procedures are concerned, as far as technology is also concerned. So we are constantly upgrading our tanks to make them better, to make sure that they are relevant for the next battle whenever we are called out to fight.
But with this battle going on in Europe, also in Gaza, are you getting enough inputs? You do get enough inputs, I guess.
We are constantly analyzing open sources intelligence as well as other intelligence is concerned. And we are constantly in the process of reviewing our, what we refer to colloquially as TTPs, tactics, techniques and procedures. And we are constantly upgrading them. As an Armoured Corps, we are cognizant of the drone threat that is presently there for tanks. And so we are constantly working out how to work out our counter-drone procedures, both in active and passive forms.
You showed us a lot of your training. And just one more issue, like you're talking about womb to tomb story. So the retirees come over here and they're well given some sort of courses, etc. I do not know how you go about the whole business. So how do you ensure that they settle a little better in CV Street?
So the people of the Armoured Corps who are retiring, we get in touch with them in the last 1 year of retirement. We educate them on all the resettlement courses that are there. We get them in touch with various, for example, the Army Welfare Placement Organization, so that they get jobs well before they retire. They can attend their interviews, etc. They physically come to us 30 days before they retire, that is in the last month of retirement. Those 30 days are focused on certain fundamentals. The first being that we get the documentation right, so that his pension documents are absolutely right and he gets what is due to him. The second issue is we educate them on how to invest their money, so that they don't get caught out by touts, etc., because there's a large sum of money that they are taking on retirement. The third is that we educate them on government schemes which are available for ex-servicemen, both for employment and otherwise, so that once they leave and they go back to the CV Street, they are very, very clear about what are the opportunities that are available to them. And last but not the least, it's a relationship which lasts till death. So once he leaves, the Armoured Corps Centre School becomes the one-point contact with the Army. So any Part 2 order that you have to get published post-retirement, that is published by the Armoured Corps Centre School. Any issue that you have now with your pensions and your documentation, they have to fall back to us. So we have a call center where we do communications both ways. We ring up our ex-servicemen, they ring us up, and we make sure that they're as comfortable as they can be in their post-retired life. And we take great pride that we are getting in touch with all our ex-servicemen. They're doing us proud, and as an army, we're very proud for all that they have done for us. And as ACC says, it is our job to make sure that we look after our ex-servicemen wherever they are, and more so in the 30 days we prepare them for the next stage and phase of life.
General, if you don't mind, one last question. Agniveers, would you say the way they are being trained today, the quality is better at the end of the training than the training that was given in earlier days?
That will be rather judgmental to say that the training was poor earlier or better today. I just say this much, that the Agniveer is as good a soldier today as you and I were when we passed out.
Okay.
So there is no drop in his training standards. He's as good as the recruits that we saw in your and my time. And the compression of time has been made up through technology and various procedures within the center.
Thank you, General. Thank you so much for giving Bharat Shakti such a fine interview, I would say.
Thank you very
You've given
much.
us an insight.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.